Well, now I'd like to take a moment to share with you how to negotiate the course and what to expect and where to find what. So for this course, Ed 596, you'll see that it's set up very much like the other courses you've taken in the past. And if this is your first quarter, um, it'll be a nice surprise to see that they're all set up the same way for the most part. You'll notice that there's announcements and Q&As, and we encourage you to use the Q&As because typically if you have a question, other folks have a similar question, or someone might be able to answer the question for you quicker. I will be getting back to everyone at the latest would be 72 hours, but to be totally honest, I try to get back to folks within 24 hours, if not sooner, but it's a collective. So the more we can support each other, the better. The Course Essentials is really where you're going to want to spend the majority of your time to get set up for the course for success. You clearly have already found out about this course, and I'll click on that in a little bit, looking at the syllabus, my office hours, these course resources, everything from APA writing, support, and research. This is a link you'll be wanting to bookmark and use in all of your courses if you haven't already done so. The research and publications, resources in higher ed, there's a large list that you will want to become familiar with and you'll be using in this course, as well as professional organizations in higher ed. So part of this course is also building your networking. You'll notice we will have an intentional assignment that really is about networking, is asking you to interview a leader, but you're a network within yourselves, right? We all are working in higher ed or want to work in higher ed, and so the more networking we do, if you haven't already joined a professional organization, I highly recommend you do so, and I'll be going into more detail on that in our first week of the course. All the rubrics we use in the course are listed here or within the assignment themselves. Let's actually go ahead and click on about this course in detail. So there's me and the other videos. All the learning outcomes for the course. So the course learning outcomes, there's 3, and each week we have learning outcomes that help us meet the larger course learning outcomes, and you'll see how they are related and build. You'll also have an opportunity in this course to develop an artifact that you'll use in the very last, one of your last 2 courses, which is our professional portfolio course, and I'll indicate which one that is as we get going. But there's basically, you'll see there's the weekly overview of what it is we're doing each week. In this section, and under Course Essentials again, and this is just to give you a quick overview. Do click on the rubrics. Before you start the assignment, I'd start by reading the directions and then going to the rubrics for more specificity. When we look at our course syllabus, and I'm going to jump into that next, I want to have, you're going to want to spend a little more time looking at really the course objectives as I went through before, but the means of assessment. So each of the course learning objectives is provided, and here is the example of the artifacts for Program Learning Outcome 3. So for your Masters of Education, Science and Education, we have 5 program learning outcomes, and in this course focuses on Program Learning Outcome 2, 3, and 4. You'll notice for 2 of the major assignments, which we look at doing an institutional and a program analysis, would be great examples of artifacts for program number 3, learning outcome 3, as well as the leadership interview. So that leads us to say, well, what are the major assignments in this course? Well, in this course, you will be digging deep and doing some research on one particular institutional of higher education and looking at conducting an actual institutional analysis. And then within that institution, a specific program, one hopefully that is close to your heart, that you're curious about, perhaps you're working in or you'd like to. And then the end and the midterm will be really pulling these together. We'll be engaged in leadership forums, as well as forums that look at what are the big issues from the reading and resources for that week, with a real focus on student success and social justice. I've already went over in my first video about the textbook for this course. And this is where you'll find some commonalities that we have across courses, in particular with the APA format and resources, communication, etiquette, code of conduct. And so you'll want to go ahead and go through these and make sure you have an understanding of what's expected. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me for this. If this is an early course in the program or your first course, the Moodle Learning Management System is really an important time to focus on and click on. How do you basically negotiate through the Moodle courses? Although each week I will be supporting that process as well. So in terms of grading, you'll see that 50% is our forums, where we're looking at what are the big ideas in our summary forums, some collaboration among supported in terms of the process, and then the leadership forums that you will be asked to take a lead in and actually run. The major assignments are 20% of the class, and that is looking at professional organizations, looking at our program and institutional analysis. The midterm is 5%. That's really pulling the two together and using the feedback provided to make a tight report of an institution and the program. You will be conducting an interview of the leader from that program or one similar, and developing what we call an interview protocol and writing a report. And then the final essay and our one thing video, which will make sense as we jump in, because every week you will hear from a leader in higher education about the one thing that really made a difference for them as a leader. And looking at, this is a policy that goes across all of our courses in the program in terms of late or missing work. We understand life does intervene, so you are given a 24-hour exception that you can turn in with only a 20% penalty. After that, there is a zero in the course. So we are on the Pacific Standard Time Zone in Oregon, and that's, so if you're outside of that time zone, you'll want to make those adjustments as needed. The discussion forums are a huge part, as I mentioned before, and this will give you a rundown, a kind of big picture of what those look like. In our summary, we look at synthesizing and kind of digging into 2 to 3 big ideas from the reading. There's usually a prompt each week that really focuses on kind of a critical question. The leadership forum is when we won't be really getting to these till later in the course, but it's where you will be doing some research and bringing in a very current issue related to your interest in higher ed. And as I said before, our collaboration forum is something that we use to help share ideas and resources. I start off by having this as a required graded piece. I encourage you, however, to use the announcements to provide constant resources and feedback for each other. And all of these will be due the same. Again, this follows through all your courses at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday of each week, and then you'll be replying to 2 or more folks by the following Sunday at 11 p.m. Okay, I've kind of gone through a lot of these already, but you'll see in the syllabus will give you a little bit more specificity around the major assignments, and again, where the rubrics are located. And an overview in terms of what we do when, how we're approaching the class. I've mentioned it in terms of the reading, but this will give you a little bit more detail from a quick glance on what topics we will be digging into each week. And that, of course, this is a working document, and I may make changes if I feel that we went in one direction and really need more time, or that there's an interest to look at some additional material based on what's happening in the world today. So, my friends, that is a look at the syllabus. And I just want to end by saying, please don't hesitate to reach out to me You can email me, which is going to be the quickest way I get back to you. There's also a link with a little bit more about myself, and I'm really excited about working with you in this class. So there is the intro. Each week I will provide a quick overview, and and that's it. I look forward to getting to know all of you better.